Good evening to the people of the United States of the game. It is I, your Madam Secretary, Secretary of State Nina Bedoni, best known for hiring and instating the most famous of the secretaries, Monica Lewinsky. I am here today with Peggy and Gertrude, our two candidates for the Secretary of Agriculture. Now, let's begin this debate. Miss Peggy, why don't you begin? Tell us a little bit about your campaign. What are your intentions if you were to get this position?
Hello, my name is Margaret Paganucci, but you can call me Peggy. People call me Peggy. I'm very excited to talk to you today. I got my glass of grandmommy juice and I'm just ready to go. So I think I'd like to talk about what kind of crops we should be growing. If I would have had the Department of Agriculture, I'd want to focus on specialized crops. One thing that kept me healthy in my youth and even now, prunes. That's a very helpful thing. Lots of, tomatoes. And I think that we should be making more national forests. I think that we should be worrying about, land distribution. So I think the next national forest, maybe one of my main campaigns would be to name it after Ronald Reagan, great president. I do hear that the kids now are calling him a dirty pig, but I don't know really what that's all about. So I guess I'll have to learn some more about that. But I should probably tell you all my campaign slogan. I know the kids today are saying, they want to get pegged. And I figured that must mean that they want to spend more time with their lovely grandma, Peggy, the Peggies in their life. So my campaign slogan is get pegged. And I just think that's one that can inspire across multiple generations. I think that's what I have to say about that. My Gertie is a longtime friend of mine, but frankly unfit for office. So we'll have to see. Cheers, yeah?
Thank you. Yes, we do love a good pegging. Now, Miss Gertrude, why don't you tell us a little bit about your campaign?
What? Hey, you got to speak up. I'm older than God.
She's asking about your campaigns all.
I heard Peggy muttering something, but honestly, her voice is so high, only dogs can hear.
Your campaign.
Oh, my campaign. So, hello, I'm Gertrude Gelman with a G. So, a little bit about me. I've never liked the government ever since they declared me legally blind for running over my neighbor Bertha. To be fair, she had it coming. God saw the way she looked at my husband, Harold. So, like the homework card my grandkids always give me, everybody needs a little more Gertrude in their life. So I decided, I got nothing going on with the COVID. I'm going to run for the agricultural position, as my campaign slogan says, less government, more Gertrude. So one of the decisions I will be making as a agricultural dictator is how to control wildfires. Now, here is my theory. Have you ever noticed why wildfires occur in California, or they're always in California? Question, solved in my head. So I have noticed that Adam Sandler, the only Jew I would let hit it besides Harold, is there. And so I believe that God saw him and was like, he is so astronomically hot that, he couldn't take it. And he's like, oh, we got to set all the wildfires. So to solve that problem as agricultural dictator, I think he should be moved to my Brooklyn apartment. And I'm not going to let the taxpayers pay for his clothes. So in fact, I'll just have him there nude. And then, that's when my divorce to Harold will happen. So that's just a tidbit of what I'd be doing as agricultural dictator. I mean secretary. Petunia, get away. It's not your turn. God.
Okay. Yes, thank you, Gertrude.
What?
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, you're welcome, sweetheart.
Now, Peggy, I know you mentioned there's friendship amongst the two of you, but politics is no place for friends. So I ask you, why do you think Gertrude is unfit for the position while you are fit for it?
Oh, well, let me tell you all about that. I can tell you all about why Gertie here is unfit for the position. Frankly, she's never been outside, never seen a garden. She's a Brooklynite. She ain't got a yard. She's never been, this woman has never been in a garden or done anything with nature in her life before, never left the city. I may be a Bronx girl, but I spent my fair time in Jersey. That's the Garden State. I got my Italian relatives in Jersey. That's just where you go. In Bronx, I got yards. And honestly, I didn't want to have to bring this up, but frankly, the way she talked about my voice before, I think I'm gonna have to. She I don't know if you all are pretty young, but back there was something called the Red Scare. Gertie's all about talking bad about commies and communists now, all about being the big Republican. But honestly, she got caught up a little bit in that collusion too. I don't know, you heard about McCarthyism, but McCarthy was not a fan of our Gertie. And I just don't think that's right. I don't think that we need Brooklynite communists running the Department of Agriculture. I just don't think that's right. And honestly, she can't cook for the life of her. She thinks she knows what, I let her come to my Christmas dinner and she's walking around like she knows it. She never been in a garden. She doesn't know how to cook. And honestly, she doesn't have a sense of knowledge to her. I think it's ridiculous. Look, Gertie and I have been in the same book club 30 years, raised our kids very nearby each other, and, city kids. And I just don't think that she is the right fit for this position. She couldn't even, I have something to tell you about that too. We were reading Becoming, Michelle Obama's book, and I just think she's such an inspiration. And Gertie skipped that book. She said she wasn't interested in what this Democrat woman had to say. And I think I listen
Miss
to
Peggy,
Republicans.
thank
so
you.
I don't know
I'm going
why.
to stop you there. I'm going to stop you there. But I will say, as a fellow Italian, ciao. Now,
Ciao.
Gertrude,
Ciao, Zoll.
what do you have to say about this claim that you're...
Harold! Oh, sorry, were you saying something?
Yes. What do you have to say of these claims that you're a communist?
Okay.
Potentially in bed with McCarthyism.
Okay, I'm gonna say I have been in bed with McCarthyism, both literally and figuratively. There was a time where I was dating a communist boy and it happened and it passed. And McCarthy only really hated me because, well, to be fair, I was alive when he was at a fuckable age and he was more of an ass guy. And let's face it, I had the tits to breastfeed all of America. So,
she's filthy. She's got disgusting language. I'm sorry. I just had to say that.
I'm sorry.
Thank you, Peggy. I'm going to ask that you do not interrupt.
What?
Proceed, Miss Gertrude.
I'm older than God, honey. You gotta out.
Proceed. Yep. Okay.
Huh. So anyway, like I was saying, the tits to breastfeed all of America. Gonna say it again, Peggy. So me and McCarthy, we just never got along. And so he said some things about me on a list. But if we're being honest, he's just a big, fat, stinking liar, just like Peggy Panucci is. And let's talk about her cooking. If we're going to get into Peggy, we're going to get into her cooking. So I go over to our house, my first Christmas dinner ever. What? I'm a young Jew living in Brooklyn. I want to go see what these Christians do. So I go over there and oh my God, her chicken was still alive. She kicked it. She killed it bare there, like in a satanic ritual.
That's not true. She wouldn't try any pasta. She said, that's not regular American dinner. I'm not going to eat that pasta. And she was disgusting. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. And she's spreading lies about me, calling me lying Peggy. What? Maybe. What? And I invited her to my Christmas dinner. I haven't ever heard her inviting me to Hanukkah. So I think that says something about character.
TV.
Thank you, Peggy, for that passionate display of emotion. Gertrude, continue, please.
What was the question?
You know what? Let's change questions because I think you both are a little heated now.
Repeat, I'm older than God, and before your father could get it up.
She ain't got any on us.
Gertrude, we're gonna move on. Thank you. Peggy, I do have a question for you. Now, I recently learned that you have a bit of a leg up on the competition because your mother was in fact half squash.
I knew it.
Now, please let us know how this would affect your campaign. Do you think you have any benefits to your upbringing as a fourth squash?
I will. I do think that, I didn't want to bring it up because I didn't want people thinking I was playing that sort of birthright game because I am passionate about this from a place beyond birth. But honestly, I can't lie and say I'm not influenced by my upbringing. Seeing what my mother faced as a half squash woman, I mean, you know, it's already hard for her to try to get by as a modern woman in the Bronx, and I think that's a difficult thing. And to be half squash too, I mean, we had our garden and we did our best to maintain our culture, right? But it's not always easy. And what I want to do is I want to encourage people like me and people like my darling mother, bless her heart, passed on to God now. But I just think, I think that we need to do a better job of letting people know it's okay to be part vegetable. It's okay to be part squash. And I personally, that's a part of myself I'm very proud of, you know, 3/4 Italian, 1/4 squash. And I just think that's a beautiful thing. And I think that I could really do some real good in spreading that message and, you know, finding people for this department who have more personal experience, you know, not just like hiring just plain human. Go a little outside of that. Yeah, I think that's an important thing. Thank you so much for bringing that up, because even though I preach, you know, acceptance and everything, I think that it can be hard for me. It's a little bit of a hard thing for me to talk about. So I don't know if I would have been able to bring that up if you didn't. So thank you so much, Madam Secretary. That's really a lovely
You can't get a husband hard. What? Who said that? I don't know.
Oh my God. You don't know anything about my husband, my own husband who passed on.
I can't hear you.
You don't know anything about him.
Huh?
Okay.
You don't know anything about my husband because Harold skipped poker night every week. Every week he'd say, oh, I'm going to poker night, and then he'd skip it. So don't come talking to me about my husband because you never had.
Thank you, Peggy.
You can still get it up.
I'm going to ask that we move on. But thank you again for the passionate outbursts.
I'm so sorry. You know, I'm an Italian woman. I've got hot blood.
I get it.
No, we've been suppressed.
Miss Gertrude.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Oh, you're speaking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I do have a question for you, and it is with regards to our president, Dariana Mullins' number one objective in her position, and that is, in fact, to reclaim the scallion as the national vegetable. What are your thoughts on this movement?
I always love a woman in charge. I keep telling my granddaughter, you should run for president. Good. I agree. Scallions, great thing. You know, I was recently emailed by a Nigerian prince who said, you know, he needed to transfer a large sum of money to my bank account. And, you know, of course, I gave him my bank information, haven't heard since. But before that, we had quite a lovely talk about scallions and how great they are for the body, great they are for the soul, and great they are for the Peggy. I swear to God, if you move your head one more time, I'm going to stick this thing right up your ass.
Sorry, I was just saying that was real stupid of you to talk to that guy because he was scamming.
Thank you, Peggy. Miss Gertrude, I'm curious. Did you not mention earlier that you were blind? How did you see Peggy moving her head?
I think you might be, you know, Peggy, Jewish women have a sense, you know, a sense of people moving about. You know, I think it comes from our days getting out of Judea. So what I could sense Peggy moving her body about, just like she was in the 60s when she was sleeping with JFK. Oh, you didn't hear that from me. Anyway, so like
I'm a Reagan girl. I'd never sleep with JFK. I think you're confusing myself with you, sweetheart. Your memory's not exactly
Thank you.
What it used to be anyway.
Peggy, I will have to mute you at the next outburst.
Sorry, I let the emotions become of me. Like I was saying, scallions are such good for especially your sexual health. Now, you know, you may look at me and you may say, Gertrude, are you really that sexually active? Oh, yeah. You know, I've developed a lovely line of vibrators for young ladies, and scallions, I have found, is the #1 producer of the female orgasm, which Harold didn't even figure out until I was in my late 70s. And Becky has never figured out. Oh, you didn't hear that from me.
Thank you so much, Gertrude, for that. Now, before I conclude, I will finish with some closing statements. Namely, the national poem of the United States of the game. Now, if we all can raise our right hands as I recite these powerful words. Stroke on my, lick on my, suck on my cock. It's the first time for you, so here's what to do. Unzip me and strip me and show me you care. Don't go ripping out my pubic hair. Profound words.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
I would like to formally thank you, Peggy and Gertrude, for coming here today, and I wish you both the best.